I think my son is a serial killer. I tried my best. I really fucking tried. I didn't want parenthood, but when it's given to you, hell, it's hard not to fall in love with it. It has its ups and downs, sure, but through it all, you learn to love your child. They're an extension of you. A part of yourself that you can try and mold into an even better version. Unfortunately, people aren't as clean-cut as that. You tell them to zig, and they zag. It's just how life is. Beyond the disagreements and head-bumping though, it's still possible to raise a kid. Bring them up right in the world. That's what I thought I was doing. My son was well-mannered, a gentleman. And God, did he have his way with the ladies. Once high school started, it seemed like every other week he was telling me all about his new love, or how he was sure this was the one. He was only 15, but who was I to cast doubt on whatever love life he found for himself? Plus it all stayed at school, having those cafeteria dates and what have you. However, by 17, he was actually bringing girls over to meet us. Have dinner with his mom and I. Now, I'm not the best with names, but I do remember faces quite well. That's why, when I started noticing the missing person flyers, I was quick to cock an eyebrow. But this is my son we're talking about. The boy who I'd raised since I was a child myself. I was 16 when he was born. I worked my ass off for him. We grew up together. I couldn't convince myself that everything was peachy forever, though, and by the time I saw Miranda's name on one of those flyers, the most recent girl he had brought home, I knew that I had to talk to him. I needed to set things straight, give some relief to my suspicion. I begged God, prayed like a madman, that I was wrong. But the more I thought, the more I started connecting dots. I'd never had one of these girls visit more than once or twice. I'd already caught my son sneaking out at night on multiple occasions. He seemed to always have those hollow eyes whenever he interacted with any of them. When he talked about them, though it was different, it was like he was truly excited, but not in that normal teenage boy kind of way. It was like, when he talked to me about them, he was fantasizing, thinking about what he wanted to do to them. When I finally got home, after a long day at the office, I practically sprinted up the stairs to my son's room to inquire. To my disappointment, the room was empty, and my son was nowhere to be seen. What I did find, though, were missing person flyers, folded neatly on his nightstand, each one depicting a different ex-girlfriend. Now, if it had just been the flyers by themselves, I'd have been able to explain it away. Maybe he was helping to hang them up. Maybe he had just run out to finish, and had forgotten to grab them. No, life can never be that easy. What made me realize that I needed to do more than just talk to my son was what had been written on the flyers. Scrawled across each flyer in the handwriting that I helped my boy practice with were complaints. Too loud, too demanding, too arrogant, too annoying. I sifted through the papers, and by the end had read a total of 7 complaints. A tear fell down my face, streaming down the cheek, dipping into my newly discovered smile. I must have been in a trance because I didn't even hear the bedroom door open. All I remember is that faint, quiet, "Dad." Before I turned to greet my son, emotion overwhelmed me, and all I could think to say, as I outstretched my arms for a hug was, "That's my boy."